Hello, my beautiful Jamie. How are you?
I'm doing great.
I'm really I'm really excited to sit down and talk to you today about everything that you've experienced in the last little bit. Um, which feels like I say it like that and I'm like, dun dun dun.
Yes.
Okay, so will you please share who you are and what it is? What would you say you do around here?
All right. Yeah. So I'm Jamie Maddox, and I help women entrepreneurs transform their relationship with money and using, fun, unique modalities and kind of a backdoor approach to just get money and wealth flowing.
It's a backdoor approach, unique. Yes, yes, and yes. And I'm really excited. I want you to share more about that later because I'm obsessed with what you do and how you do it. I just kind of want to like give a profile of my nose for a second as like
It's where it all starts.
it's where else, which I love so much. That's one of the things that I super love about you is your uniqueness. And I think unique is so much fun. Okay, so let's get started. Where were you sitting before we started working together? Like where were you at with sharing your voice? And just like really standing, I'm going to say it like this. Where were you with standing in your power?
Yeah. Um, it's so interesting to think back to that time because it feels like it was forever ago, and I literally feel like a different person, honestly. Right?
We want
Yeah,
different people.
exactly, exactly. No, it was so interesting because I was posting in my Facebook group, but it was very hit and miss, and I was, getting this, my Healing Hope business like more consistent and having like a working to get it more clarified and defined as to what I was doing. And I just remember like when we very first started, I was like, I just need consistency with power. Like I feel like it comes and it goes, but I don't really know why or what happens or what's the magic formula to just feel like my voice is heard by myself and by others.
Oh my gosh. You just said like I don't know. You probably did that on purpose. The magic formula. The magic formula. Do you just realize? Okay, first I want to say this. Like, I think we all want that formula.
Mhm.
We all want to know
Yeah.
what is it for me that will get me from a place of being empowered or being not being empowered to being empowered because otherwise it's like okay I got there but how did I get there and how do I recreate that and so like understanding what it is for us because it's not necessarily the same for us that it is for everyone else but then
Yeah.
also love you're kind of a money person kind of you know you only own like you co-own a tax company. And you're like the formula and throughout so many of our sessions I'm like okay this is your formula wait a second this is this plus this equals this and it was like how many times did that show up for you?
So often, and I was like, I love it. Just give me the 1 + 1 = 2, then I can do
Yes, and
it.
some people it's like, okay, here are the steps, or here's like your procedure. No, no, you legit had a formula. Like all the time that was like, this plus this equals this equals this is
Yeah.
greater than this,
Yes, it's so true.
less than or equal to.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh wait, here's another formula.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's really what I was seeking. Like, I was just like, I just need to know what works and why.
Yes, yes, exactly. What do you think was the turning point that was like, okay, I actually think I need some help on this and I want
Mm.
to do weird things with Seidel.
Well, I had been following you for a really long time and had a few little interactions and like kind of some of your smaller courses and whatnot. And like for a long time, it was like, oh, I know I'm going to work with her. I know I need to work with her. And it was just like, when's the right time? When's the right time? And it finally just really felt like, yes, now is the right time. And, there was some hesitation of like, how often do I have to sing in front of someone? I mean, I know she's really cool and a very safe place, but I still have a little hesitation with that. But you really only had me sing like once, and it really was not bad. Um, so yeah, it was just like kind of just waiting till I felt ready that I could be full in and like really just like step in and be willing to do the work for it, whatever that meant or whatever that looked like.
That's how I feel about what you just said. Like, just a big sigh, because I think that is the case for so many people. And I think it's like across the board, right? For working with mentors, but then I think especially working on the voice, you really have to be ready. It
Yeah.
really is like, it's the expression of your soul. So you really, you're like,
Yeah.
yes, I know. As I like back away from the camera. But it's there, it's vulnerable. It's vulnerable. It's, you know, vulnerable. It's like,
Right? Well, and it's like also taking accountability for the times when I'm not in my voice or not in my power and in the past when I can see that, but also even now, because there's still times that I'm like, oh, okay, I know what happened in that situation. Noted. Okay, I can be accountable for that and I can choose differently next time.
I just love that. And I just want to say, like, I just want to say something about that because yes, we do not sit in our voice. We don't sit on our power 24/7. We just don't. We can't. It's like being happy all the time. We want to, but we're just not ready for that yet. And so we work our way to get there. Like we're building our muscle
Yeah.
to to be at that capacity. You're building your muscle to like sit in the power and the frequency of your voice all the time. I don't even do that. Like my son, I was talking to my son one time and he's like, "Why do you sound like that?" And I was like, "I'm not even in my own frequency. I was just like this like high pitch, you know?" And I was like, "Oh." And I dropped right back down and he was like, "That's so much better." And I was like,
Mm.
even and he doesn't even like he's not a part of this world, you know? But he was just
Right.
like, "Why do you sound so weird?" And, so
Yeah.
we all step in and out, but when you have that clarity of like for you, your formula,
Right.
you'd be like, "Oh, I just stepped out. And now I can feel that I stepped out because I know what I experience in it." So the
Yes.
clarity of being out of it is so much better. And then you're like, "Oh, but I know how to get back in because I've got the formula."
Yeah. Yeah. And it was interesting as we worked together, I had this interaction and it was like this one person kept being like, well, Jamie's just so direct. Jamie's just so direct. Jamie's just so direct, like multiple days in a row. And I was kind of like a little bit like, okay, is that coming across as a positive or a negative about me?
Right.
And but then we had a session kind of like right after that, and you just reminded me that like part of like really standing in my the power of my voice is being able to be direct, like still being loving and caring about it, but like I'm supposed to be direct. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe I was actually my in my voice during that whole like situation, and it wasn't a bad thing. So that was just like a really cool thing for me to be like, okay, other people do notice, and it's okay that they notice that I'm standing
Yeah.
in my power with my voice.
Yeah, but it creates trust,
Mm, yeah,
even if it's not conscious, you know. Then they're
yeah,
like, "Oh yeah, she's doing her, her
yeah,
alignment." Like we can sense that if someone's in alignment or not. And then we're like,
yeah.
"Yes, I can trust her. She's being direct." Now, they know that you're not going to be like, "No, you look really good today."
Yeah, yeah, I don't do that well.
Be like, if I ask Jamie for her opinion, she's gonna give it to me. If I ask her for doubt, she's gonna give it, like, they know what they're getting. And that is
Yeah.
just, you know, it's priceless. It really is priceless.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was the other thing is like, because I used to, at least like growing up, there I got shamed a lot for like
Yeah.
having an opinion and being really direct. And granted, I probably didn't always do it in the kindest, most light-filled way, let's be real, right? But it was like allowing me, like working with you allowed me to heal that, to be like, okay, I can forgive myself for that in the past, but also know that there was an aspect of me that was standing
Right.
in my voice. And so let's just keep it in the light more often, but just be able to still do that. So it was like cool to see how like I naturally used to do it more, and then just like allowing myself to heal so I can now consciously choose to do it.
Right. And being the strength of it.
Yes, yeah.
I love that so much. I think that is so, it's so powerful to be able to see, that you were that once, and maybe there were some struggles with it, but that you can like work with the struggles. Okay. So that was a great, so that's a great lead into my next question. I'm already laughing. Actually, this is probably one, this is bad. This is probably one of my favorite questions of all the questions that I get to ask. Um, what were you the most nervous about working with me? I love the question. Is that bad that I just
No, I
actually,
love it.
how did I scare you?
Yeah, you're like, what should I know? You know, there wasn't necessarily a lot of like specific things. It was a little bit more of like the unknown, because it's like what you do is so unique and so specific, and like I don't know of anyone else that does it, right? And so it's like I don't know. It's like when you go to like in general, like a life coach at this point, a lot of people kind of generally know what a life coach does, right? So there's a little bit of like, okay, I know what to expect, but it's like working on my voice. Okay. Like she can heal with her voice. She like feels my vibration when I speak. Like there's not a lot you can hide. And I say that with love because, but that's why you have to be ready, because it's
Yeah.
like, because it's just like when I speak, which is the session, like she hears more than I'm saying, and I don't get away with a lot. And so, so that was, yeah, so that was probably what I was most nervous about, but it all turned out really good.
I think that's
Exactly.
for both of us. Yeah. Oh, I think that is no, I was gonna say I think, but no, I know. This is what the biggest feedback I get is that, because that's why it's so vulnerable to do these, and you really have to be ready because you really, there's there's no hiding. Sorry. Not sorry.
Right. Yep.
Because I'll see everything, I'll hear everything, feel everything. I'm like, oh, that just doesn't, like, I hear the words you're saying, but it's not happening.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling now?
Good. I there's just like honestly, like I think about the things and implement the things that we worked on like daily still.
Love
And I know that it will continue because it's just like I do, like I check in each day. It's like, hey, how am I feeling in my voice? Am I following my formula? Am I speaking? Am I, trusting? Am I um, because that was one of the things like with where you look at the astrology chart, like just very nuanced aspects of it in how it relates to the voice was so fascinating to me. And um, so I'm an Aquarius moon, and I just like check in every day. I'm just like, okay, am I connected with that? Am I willing to be connected to that? And so I love that it helped me to not only trust myself, but it really helped me to rebuild trust with God, that
Mm.
I I don't want to say like just that how I am meant to speak and what my voice can do is the correct way. And, you know, you pointed out that like I'm supposed to be talking a lot. And I know that some people that are listening that have only known me the last few years are like, she's supposed to talk a lot. I know, friends, I'm working on it. So, but it's so true because like and you explain like why that is and like everything. And so it's like, okay, I get to just really speak. And sometimes it doesn't even matter. I just have to get warmed up with my voice and then the power will come. And so it's kind of, I don't know, it's just like every day. It's just like, okay, have I warmed up the voice? Have I been speaking? Am I now in my power? Am I in my frequency? Like, what's the direction we're going so that I make sure I'm actually going the direction I want to? So I don't know if that answered the question, but that's what came
Yeah,
to me.
that totally did. I love that. It made me, so this is the thing that I'm wondering, of all the formulas that we went over, and we went over a few. So I don't know if you can remember. I'm putting you on the spot.
I
I had
know.
no idea I was going to ask you this question. What do you think, which formula has stood out the most to you and been the most helpful?
Okay, there were a few along the way that I think built up, but really it's the Jupiter in my third house, just that formula of the I have to speak. I have to, yeah, just have my voice working. Like I always cut myself off. I always would stop. and
Mhm.
and just that does not work for me. It stops the flow in everything of every part of my life. So just speak, just get it out, just let it go. And that formula of just getting the words out opens the flow for a lot of areas of my life.
What, can you give me an example of one of those areas?
Um, well, with money, so the more I speak, the more money comes into me.
Holla.
I know, right?
I would say no to that one.
Exactly. And just like with my emotions, like just being able to like release my emotions if I don't verbally speak it out. And I know this is like true as a general sense, but like me specifically,
Mm-hmm.
like speaking it out is absolutely vital. Otherwise it's like it comes up, but it's like I can only like clear so much emotion if I don't actually speak it. So when I speak it, it like finishes that cycle of like clearing those emotions. Does that
Right.
make sense?
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And it reminds me, because you've got Jupiter in the third house, which is all
Mhm.
about expansion, which you said. So I'm not like
Mhm.
divulging information that I
Right,
didn't
yeah, yeah,
say.
yeah.
Let me tell everybody about your chart, Jamie. No, so you have that Jupiter is there, and that Jupiter is expansion. So one of the things that we talked about was the more you speak, like speaking equals expansion and like understanding. Like you really
Yes.
gain that understanding and the clarity, which is what you're saying. Like you can clear so much, like you can move the energy and have transformation, but it caps
Mhm.
if
Yeah.
you're not speaking.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, the clarity, like that is a huge piece for me that because I used to just be like, why do I have to speak? I can just think all this stuff. You know, I have a lot of air signs, let's be honest. So it's like I can just think it all. Like it's fine. I can figure things out. But but as I have really experimented intentionally with this while working with you,
Absolutely.
it was like, oh, like just after a few minutes of speaking, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I know what I need to do. We're good. Like I know the next step. Okay, yeah, we're good. Like
Yeah, I witnessed that because you had messaged me and you're, because I was like, listen, you're just like, you keep interrupting yourself and you're not, so you like not saying the things that you need to say, you're stopping. And it wasn't like I interrupt myself all the time and then I will like start going down another path, you know? You would just like stop talking. You would
yeah.
interrupt yourself with like a big old right in front of the mouth,
Mhm.
you know? And it's like having you message me and be like, okay, I'm just gonna talk this out. And then you'd start talking it out, and I'm just listening, and then you're like, oh, okay, I know exactly what to do. And I was like, that's the easiest thing I've done today.
Yeah, you were just like, okay, sounds good. I'm like, okay, thanks.
I love that.
Yeah.
So really it's amazing to see the formula really
Hmm.
in action.
Yes.
What would you say has been your biggest, I mean, I think that's been a really like one of your biggest takeaways,
Yeah.
but what would you
Hmm.
say has been your biggest win in it all?
Um, Feeling a lot. Okay, so I actually did. I re-upped with you, so I did like two full package sessions with you because it was that good, and I was seeing that much. So it's like, okay, I had a lot of wins, but really, I the second time through, like one of our focuses was like to help me with sales with my business, um, and I got sales. Like it happened.
And I got sales.
1 + 1 = 2. It worked. But no, it was like really cool because and I still have some work to do with sales. Like, don't get me wrong, but like going from where I was to like, Seidel, I don't even know if I can like ask anybody specifically to like buy my program. Like, I just like that feels really intimidating, to be
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, it doesn't have to look like this because with my voice it can look like this and that's what feels natural and I'm allowed to do it that way, and it doesn't mean I'm like breaking any like rules or doing anything wrong. But I remember after like I had a session with a client and then I had offered the package and they signed up, and I'm pretty sure I messaged you and was just like, I did it. I was just really direct and just like straightforward and just said like, this can help you. You should get it. And they did. And it was like, that was really beautiful. And it was not hard. And I mean, there was a little bit more with it, but that's how it felt for me, was just being like, it can be easy and it can feel natural. And it happens when I'm in my voice, when I'm in the power of my voice.
That's-
Right?
Okay. So sales can be easy
Hmm.
and natural when you're in the power of your voice.
Yeah. Yeah. And I dare to say that that's true for everybody.
Oh, I
Like,
dare to say that's true as well.
right? Yeah, exactly.
I just want to write that down because I like it.
Oh, good.
Yes, yes. I'm just like still, I mean, I've experienced that. I love that you've experienced. That's pretty huge.
Yeah,
And when you own your own business, sales, it's kind of how you make money.
exactly.
You
Yep.
know, if you're like doing other things, if you're an employee, then you don't have to worry about sales and you're using your voice in a different capacity. But when you own your own business, it's kind of a big deal. I have to ask you this because you have two businesses, right?
Mhm.
So you have Healing Hope and then you have an accounting firm, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
And and we've talked about Healing Hope and how you've gotten sales from that there and like just gained clarity in that so much. Can you talk to me a little bit about what has changed in your accounting firm since we started working together?
Yeah. Um, a lot of it, I feel like I'm better able to be a manager for my employees. Again, going back to that, just feeling like I can be direct with love. And because a lot of times I'm like, I just want things to move fast. Like, let's just get it done so we can go play and have fun and just do what we really want to do. And so um, it's been really interesting just as I have been just like allowed myself to be direct and not feel like I have to like beat around the bush. Like they've received it super well. Like they're just like, okay, yeah, okay. Like, and they just do it. And I'm like, oh, well, that was easy. And
This is easy. Communication just got easy.
exactly. Yes. Yeah. And, there's been some, larger conversations that have needed to happen. And even to the point of, I, before we worked together, I was not a partner of the company. And that had been something that had been on the table with no forward movement for about 3 years. And I was like, I give up, like, fine, like that. I don't know what to do. And it was like, as we worked together, the conversation started happening, and I am now a partner of the company and have had a lot of really big shifts as far as, roles and responsibilities. And so yeah, that was like a massive leap forward that I had felt just like, just a stopping wall for 3 years. And it's like, oh
Yeah.
no, when I like really chose to just be in my voice and just be like, here's how it is, here's who I am, and this is what I have to offer. It just like opened the door for it.
I I love that so much because I think so many people are afraid that if they show up and they're like, this is how who I am, this is how it is, and especially like, I mean, I don't think everybody is supposed to show up quite like that, you know? We all sit in that energy in a certain in our own way, right?
Yeah.
And I think we all need to. But Aquarius, like an Aquarius moon, you really like that's just what you're supposed to do because you're supposed to take a bunch of people places.
Yeah.
And like you have a whole like for the Aquarius moon, like your sound, your sound moves a whole jet of people, you
Yeah.
know? You're taking a bunch of people for a ride, a really good ride, to a really great place. And so I think a lot of people are like, oh, if I just be me and I'm like, this is who I am, this is how I do it, it's going to close a lot of doors. And you're just like, being me, this is how I do it. You know,
Yep.
you're like, all of a sudden, all these doors started opening, you know,
Yeah.
and you started having conversations that you'd been wanting to have for 3 years. And that's really huge.
Yeah.
And I don't think you, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think you like walked in and you're like, look, this is happening or I'm out of here.
Right. Nope.
It just like was a natural,
Yeah, the situation just like naturally showed up where I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to say this and I'm going to do this because I think this is where this conversation is going. So I'm just going to trust it. So yeah, it wasn't even like me like planning it, or I mean, literally, like I kind of had put it off and just been like, okay, it's never going to happen. I'm just going to do this other, whatever. And then it just happened. And so it was really beautiful to see how natural it was.
that is glorious. I just like, I'm sitting here listening to it. And I'm like, is this, wait, is this really me? Are you talking, this is really happening? Okay,
Yeah.
yes, this is happening. This is happening right now.
Yes.
And I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
your relationship with your employees, like the people that you manage, I'm sure that has shifted.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
and you did talk about they were like really receiving. You were just like, oh, Jamie's direct. You're just really direct, but not in a bad way.
Yeah. 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 And it like, yeah, it's just has opened a lot of opportunities for different company trips and retreats that I didn't even really feel like were possible, or that I maybe wouldn't have felt safe to do in the past. And I'm like, oh no, if I just remember to like really stay in my voice and stay in my power, then this is possible and it's good. Yeah, and they are happening.
Would you mind sharing where you're going? You're taking your company to where?
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to Fiji for 2 weeks for a company retreat and next month, and I'm really excited. And so are they.
I was wondering, do you have an opening?
I know, right?
That's incredible. Like you, I just want to say, your voice is like literally flying people.
Right?
This
Yeah.
this is not on the books in
When we
January.
started. Mm-mm. No. Yeah, it all came like while we were working together. Yeah.
And you were just like, Fiji.
Yeah, I mean, like that's the funniest thing is like it started out as kind of like a random like noticed that the price for flights was cheap, and then it was like a company joke, and then one day I was just like, could we actually make this happen? And I was like, okay, here's my proposal for all the people that need to make this decision. I think we can make it happen. Are we making it happen? I'm going to make it happen. So let's just do it. Like, let's just do this. And then everyone was like, we thought this was a joke. I'm like, no, let's do it. We can. So why not? And like, it's going to bless so many lives because of it.
Yeah.
So that's what I really love to do. One of my passions. So
I think that I'm so excited for you and for your employees. I'm excited for both of your companies.
mhm.
Can we just sit in that for a second? Like, do you just love hearing that so much? Like, you have two companies, Jamie.
I know, kind of weirds me out a little bit. Some days I'm like, is that true? And then I'm like, yes, yes, it is.
Yes, this is your real life. That is so incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, last question for you. What would you say to someone who's on the fence and they're like, I don't know. She does this weird thing and she's gonna make me sing, and I just don't know.
Number one, I would say do it, like just do it. But check in with yourself and just really see if you're, like I said, you're at the place to step in fully and to really be seen, but in a beautiful, good way. So it's not like a weird way or a scary way, but just like, because you have, Settle, you have a level of like love and celebration of no one that I have ever met. And I love that about you. And it's something that really has helped me just like remember that I really can celebrate every small thing, every small step. And so for the people that are on the fence, like if you're wanting to just like have like the greatest cheerleader and support person while you do the work, like work with Seidel because yeah, I don't know, you're just amazing. And I highly, highly recommend working with you.
I want to cry. That makes me so happy. I just love celebrating people. I loved celebrating you so much in the sessions, and when we were messaging and you'd share your wins, it just makes my heart so happy to see these things. And I really, really appreciate you saying to check in. Is it time? Because that is my number one. It's what I want more than anything else, is for it to be the right timing for me to be the right person at the right time, because that's when you'll experience the most growth.
Yeah,
And it's not always the right time, and
yeah.
you know, and that makes a difference. So I really, really appreciate you sharing that. Um, Now, can we just talk for a minute about noses and like what you do and what you like? I just want you to tell people about your nose, discover your nose session, because I am in love. Like, who does that? Like, let's sit down and talk about your nose. I have had nose, it's like I'm like super now. Anytime we talk, I'm like, I just touched my nose. Oh my gosh, what does that mean? Oh my gosh, my nose is running. Okay, it tickles. Okay, how does my nose look?
Yeah. You could hear everything in the voice, and me, I'm watching people's interactions with their nose. No. Can't hide anything.
No.
No, so noses are all about value. So what we value, what we spend our time and our money on, how long it takes for us to make decisions, how we perceive our exchange for value. And most people don't ever pay attention to their nose unless they don't like it. And which
That was me
which
before.
before, yeah, exactly. And so when we do the Discover Your Nose sessions, we look at your beautiful nose and we talk about the things that you maybe like or don't like, and where that is really blocking your flow of stepping into wealth and to that next level of just the flow of money to you. And it's really fun.
It was so much fun, and
Yeah.
it was so eye-opening, and I was just like, oh, my life has changed forever because of this, and it really has. So I can't shout enough to do a Discover Your Nose session. Like, first of all, doesn't that sound like so much fun?
I know what I'm like, if nothing else, just for curiosity's sake.
It's so, 'cause so fun and so enlightening. And I know that it's so funny because, you talked about celebration and that I'm a good cheerleader. But that was the thing. That was my flow, stopping my flow. Like I super love celebrating everybody else, but celebrating myself was a really, really big struggle. And that was what we found in my Discover Your No session was that, that I need to step into celebration. The more I celebrate, the more money I make. And I was like, yes, yes.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
then, through our time together, I actually got a license plate that says celebrate.
Which was so awesome.
Every time I'm in my car. This is one big party.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you for taking your time
Yeah.
today. Thank you
Thank you.
for letting me be an intimate part of it really just feel so intimate, and
Mhm.
I'm in your life with your voice, but thank you for letting me be an intimate part of your journey. Um, I just love you so much,
Same to you.
and I'm
Absolutely.
sure we'll be talking soon.
Yes, yes, we will.
Okay, thanks. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you.